Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, do not let it be your last. My name is Nichelle, and I am the Startup CEO, helping you to start, market, grow, and profit in your own enterprise as the CEO of you, helping you to take your side hustle and turn it into your main hustle. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome CEO family. Thank you for coming back to check out my broadcast. Today we are going to talk about 7 things that you should know if you are thinking about buying a house with your significant other, with your spouse, or whomever. We're going to talk about some things that you need to talk about before you sign on the dotted line, before you even step out the house to look forward, and before you begin the process. So please be mindful. Make sure you comment below and tell me what your thoughts are. Make sure you comment below and let me know if this is something that has happened to you in the process of looking for a home or if the information was insightful. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the information that I share. I greatly appreciate it. It helps grow the channel and helps me provide more information for free to help keep you in your life to up level to your next level. So let's go ahead and get started. Gotta put them glasses on because you know sister girl cannot see unless you put them on. Yes, I gotta read my notes. Have to take notes. There's nothing wrong with taking notes. Gotta stay on track and gotta follow them. So let's go ahead and proceed. The first thing that I need you to do if you are in the process of buying a home or thinking about buying a home with your spouse or significant other is that you need to check each other's credit score. Now, Nichelle, why is that important? Checking your credit score because you don't want to waste your time. Lenders have criteria that is necessary for you to purchase a home before they give you a loan. And so if you don't have the credit scores, you're wasting the lender's time, you're wasting an agent's time, and you're wasting your time. And obviously time is money. You don't want to waste your time because your goal obviously is to become a homeowner. And so you can check your credit score in a multitude of different ways. There are some free ways that you can check it, but they don't necessarily give you the information that you need in order to purchase a home because purchasing a home, regular credit scores, buying a car, all of them use different metrics when they are evaluating someone to get a service or to become a part of the program. Okay, so Credit Karma is one that you can go just to kind of get an idea as to where you are with your credit score. I will also leave some information for Identity IQ below. Just click the link down below, go below this video, and I'll leave some information about Identity IQ as well as a link that you can go and learn what the 3 bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, are saying about you. If you checked out my other video talking about how to erase your credit or how to improve your credit and erase bad credit in 30 days, I discuss a lot of things that you can do to improve it. So I'll leave a link below as well that you can go ahead and check out that video. But you want to know what your credit score is because, again, lenders typically right now in today's environment, they're looking for a 640 and above credit score. And that is just basic credit score. You know, obviously the scores go up higher, and the higher your score is, the less interest you will pay and the better loan you will have. So FHA 640, you can get a really good rate right now. There are conventional loans that you can get a pretty decent rate, VA loans, all that kind of stuff, USDA, all of that as well. So I'll go over those types of loans in another video. So knowing your credit score empowers you because it helps you shop around and know what you want to get or what you can get as far as a rate is concerned. Again, the better your credit score, the better opportunity you have for getting a good rate. And you want to get a good rate because you're going to more than likely have this mortgage anywhere from 15 to 30 years. And of course you can refinance, but you want to get into a house to save money. And you know, buying a house for most of the time is cheaper than renting. For most instances, it just depends on where you are in the country and what you're looking for as far as a home. So check your spouses, your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, credit score, sit down, talk about these things. You know, one thing that I understand, being married for over 24 years, and people don't like to talk about money. I do relationship coaching, and the first thing I ask them, do you know how much they make? They say no. I'm like, really? Wow. Okay. So when you're talking about debt, like a house, because that is good debt, buying a house so that you can build sustainable wealth from there, you want to make sure that you know what each other's credit looks like. Make sure you don't have any liens, any judgments, because that will prohibit you from buying a house unless you pay it off under most circumstances. But knowing what debt you have, if you have child support, again, they'll make you pay that off under most circumstances, depending on your locale and what type of arrangement. Sometimes you can have a proven payment, a track history of record of payment, and they'll let you go for that. But the title company I deal with in my area, they're gonna make you pay everything off when you come to that closing table. Why? Because it's a lien on the property. And lenders don't like to get into a new situation with a lien on the property. So check your credit, sit down, talk about it. Go to free resources like Credit Karma or check the link below, Identity IQ. You will get your 3 credit scores, which lenders look at. They typically go with the middle score. So if you have a 600, 615, and 630, they're going to go with the 615 and qualify you based upon that. And based upon what I've shared with you, a 615 typically will not qualify. There are lenders out there that typically that may lend under 640. But be careful, okay? That's all I gotta say. Go to an approved lender. Number 2, and if you wherever you are in the United States, I actually have a lender that's amazing. That is amazing. That can help you get a loan. So if you are in need of a home loan in any state of the 50 states, let me know in the comments below. I can possibly connect you guys, and he can help you and assist you from there. Number 2, the next thing you want to do is discuss how much house can you afford. Now, some criteria that you should use when you're discussing what kind of house you can afford. Sorry, I'm like, is my head, are you seeing my hair, my top of my head? Is my face cut off? I'm sorry, I just looked into the camera there. But you want to talk about how much house you can afford. Now, where does the conversation begin when you're talking about how much house you can afford? First off, you need to know how much your significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, how much do they make? How much do you make? Because DTI, which is debt to income, is going to come into the portfolio of how much house you can afford. So people always ask me all the time, being a realtor, broker, they ask me, they say, well, I want to buy a $300,000 house. Well, depending on what your credit scores are and depending on what your income is, dictates what type of house you buy. More so your income versus your credit score, because you can have an 800 credit score and still can't purchase a $300,000 home. But your income dictates what you can buy. So if you make $30,000 a year, the chances of you getting qualified for a $300,000 home are little to none. Basically none. So you want to not be house rich and poor. You want to get something that you can afford. You know, the market, I've been through several different scenarios where the market has crashed. And the reason why it crashed and people lost their homes was because they had more house than they can afford. You know, I always tell people, get something that you feel comfortable paying. If you feel comfortable paying the amount you're paying for your rent now, stay in that area. You don't want to go beyond what you can afford, because it really defeats the purpose of really buying a house, because you're going to be house rich and poor. Of course, you're going to want to get some furniture in there. You need to eat. You got to pay your utilities. All that stuff plays into how much house you can afford. Sit down, talk about it, put it on paper. What does your ideal mortgage payment look like? Do you want to pay, or can you afford to pay $1,000 a month? And you also have to add in taxes and insurance, because that's going to be included in your mortgage. At least it should be, because you don't want to get caught later on down the line not having paid your taxes, because look, county, city, state, wherever you live, will more than likely come get your house. All right. So know how much house, or which your ideal mortgage payment is that you want to be able to pay, that you can pay, and then determine from there how much house you can afford. And as I mentioned, DTI, debt to income, really typically is about 30% of your housing expense. Have 30% of your income should go towards your housing expense. Number three, where do you want to live? Now, why is this important? Because as an agent, real estate broker, when I'm out working with clients, the first thing I ask them, where do you want to live? And if this is my first time meeting them, they're like, I want to live over here, I want to live over there. And if you don't come together as a couple, that obviously creates tension in a relationship, stress for the real estate agent, and it takes longer. You really don't get to objectively get to your goals and your purpose. So sit down, discuss in advance before you even decide about buying a house. Where do you want to live? That is so crucial. Number four, and when you decide where you want to live, the next thing you need to do is decide how many bedrooms do you want in a home. If you live in a 1-bedroom apartment, you think, well, perhaps maybe I can get a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom basement with a basement, finished basement, depending on where you live in the country. Then talk about that, because your spouse may only want 2 bedrooms. He may say, we don't need an additional bedroom because I don't want nobody else coming to stay with me. Some people say that. I've heard spouses say that. They're like, no, I don't want your mama coming to live with me. I don't want your daddy, brother, sister, friend, neighbor, whoever. I just want a 2-bedroom. So discuss in advance how many bedrooms you want, so that when you talk to your realtor, you understand and she understands how to help you. It makes the job run so much more smoother. Number 4, what's important to you in a home? I just stated that: bedrooms, basement. Some people want a finished basement, some people don't, depending on the area you live in. Most of the people I work with, they always ask for a finished basement, or if not one finished, one that's partially finished where they can go in and put their finishing touches on it. Also, you need to discuss, when you're talking about what's important to a home, do you want a fixer-upper, or do you want something you can readily move into without doing any work? So it really depends. I have a lot of people that are fixer-uppers. Most of the time, they want to get into real estate from an investment perspective, so they look for fixer-uppers. Then I have people that look, I travel a lot, I don't have time, I don't have the extra money, I want to move into a house and just enjoy my house without doing any work. So that's why you need to discuss with your partner what's important to you in moving into a home. Number 5, you want you want to talk about what's important to you in a neighborhood. Now, why is this question important? Because school districts are in neighborhoods, and everybody does not want to live in a certain school district for one reason or another, and that is up to you to research under most instances. So you could go and Google school districts to get their ratings. Some people want to live in a neighborhood because of a park. They work close to the neighborhood. Amenities are big: grocery stores, shopping centers, and then you have some people that don't want to live around all of that. They'd rather be in a secluded neighborhood where they don't have access to all the traffic and all the noise and all the just different things coming in and out of their neighborhood. So discuss that in advance, because that will help the process run smoother as well. The big things I hear all the time, like I said, close to my job, highway, close to a highway, close to parks where they can go take the children, walking places, biking trails, and as I mentioned, amenities. Discuss those things in advance. What's important to you in a neighborhood? Number 6. The next thing that you want to discuss is, how long do we want to stay in this home? Why is this question important? Because if you don't plan to stay in a home at least 7 years, in some instances, you're defeating the purpose of building wealth, buying a home, because unless equity builds in that house in 7 years or less than 7 years, you're probably not going to get what you put into it. So say, for instance, right now I'm working with a client. They're a transient resident, which means that they're only going to be where I am for a period of 2 to 4 years, and they don't know. It just depends on where their job takes them. So in conversation with them, I'm like, well, do you think you're going to be here 7 years? Because if not, then we need to figure out which neighborhood you're going to live in, that you'll get a greater return on your investment, because they want to buy a house. And I'm not going to tell you shouldn't buy a house. Look, if you qualify for one, it's your money, you're going to pay your mortgage. I'm going to help you buy a house. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to decide that. So they're trying to get a little bit more substantial information from their employer to see if buying a house is going to be beneficial for them. So the reason why 7 years is good, because at 7 years, that's typically when you start paying on the house and not just interest payments. So in the beginning of the process of buying a house, most of the time you're just paying interest towards that mortgage. And the longer you have the loan, you start paying on principal. And so that's why it's important, because if you're buying a home, obviously you don't want to pay $160,000 for a house, and then when you get ready to sell it, you only get $140,000. You've lost $20,000. So you need to think about that. Areas are important. Areas that are consistently growing and building in equity would be a good sustainable investment for you if you are a transient person. Now, if you're going to live in a house 7 years and beyond, then wherever you want to live should be your choice. You should be able to find something where you want to live if you're going to be there 7 years. And you should, more than likely, depending on the market, real estate is cyclical, which means it comes up, comes down, depending on what the economy is doing, depending on if there's growth, development, and sustainable neighborhoods. So school districts are another one that can literally tear down a neighborhood. So those things are very important. How long do you plan to stay in a home? Short time, long term. Be able to discuss that with your spouse or significant other, whoever you're buying a house with, before you start to look. Number 7, the next thing that you want to discuss is what type of house do you want to buy? This is another important reason why you need to talk about these things before you contact a real estate agent, because most of the time people are not aware that there's several different types of houses. They know what type of house they want, but they've never discussed it as a couple. So I have a lot of first time home buyers, sometimes, especially if they have the investment mind frame, mindset, they want to go get a multifamily because they can buy a house, a whole house, and stay on one side and rent the other. Then I have some people, they don't want no neighbors because they done stayed in an apartment a long time, and they're like, look, I need to have a whole house by myself because I don't want to hear my neighbors what they're doing in their house. So that's a single family home. And you need to discuss that, because a lot of that plays into what your goals and your desires are long term. So a single family home typically is a ranch home. You need to decide if you want a 2-story. I have a couple right now, they bought a 2-story at 50 years old. They're getting older, and they're like, look, I need to sell this house because I'm tired of going up and down these steps. So if it's short term, it's no big deal. But if you're planning to buy your forever home, that's an important thing that you need to discuss. If it's going to be a condo, kind of like an apartment, depending on the type of condo you get. I have sold condos, newly built, new home, that just as big as a house. It just depends on what you want to do. Do you want the condo association fees? Do you want to cut grass? All that kind of stuff. Yard maintenance. Some people don't want to deal with all that. Most of the time, those are my older clients that I work with. They just want to move in, don't have to do anything. Let the condo association take care of everything in the neighborhood. They just want a place to live that they can call their own so they can get tax deductions. So talk about that. Split level, basically when you're going in a house, you got perhaps maybe the bedrooms up here. On a lower level, you perhaps maybe have the kitchen and something else, and then you may have a little lower level with just a room or two in it. So all split levels are different. But these 7 things that I mentioned to you today are very important when you are seeking to buy a home with your spouse, significant other, whomever you buy it with. And by talking about these 7 things in advance, not only can you save yourself some time, frustration, you can get into your house sooner versus later. So I hope these tips have helped you. My name is Nichelle. As I mentioned, I would love to hear from you. Make sure you comment below to tell me if this has been helpful for you, if you're in the process of looking for a home, and tell me where you're from too. That'll be good to know as well. I'm also going to link some information for credit down there, that credit video that I mentioned, Credit Karma, and then Identity IQ below as well, so you can link up to those. And if you are not a member of the CEO family, why don't you go ahead and click that subscribe button and become a part of our family? I typically broadcast on a regular basis and upload videos at least once to twice a week. And I talk about real estate, business, travel, food, relationships, and sometimes I just vlog just to have a good time. So make sure you share this video as well if you know someone else can benefit from that. So until next time, again, my name is Nichelle, and I am the Startup CEO, helping you to start, market, grow, and profit in your own enterprise as a CEO of you, helping you to take that side hustle and turn it into your main hustle. So make sure you come back and see me again. Blessings and peace until next time, and may everything that you touch, may it turn to gold. Take care. Bye-bye.